So let's step back. What is it that Einstein wanted? He wanted constantly to create a unified world that didn't depend on us. He wanted to unify granularity and continuity in physics, and to push both of them to unify other domains, to create general relativity that would join special relativity and eventually cosmology and much else. He wanted to take granularity and to use it to explain not just the dimensions of molecules and atoms, but to extend that to ideas about the photon and many other domains as well. He wanted to unify space and time in an even deeper way than Minkowski had imagined. He wanted to unify energy and mass. He wanted to unify gravitational mass and inertial mass, the heaviness of an object and the difficulty of accelerating an object. He saw those as inseparable in the equivalence principle. He wanted to unify gravity and electromagnetism. That was the dream of a unified theory that he hoped to pursue. He dreamed that maybe one day that an extension of general relativity in its various forms could actually capture some of the quantum phenomena. Politically, he wanted to unify people. He wanted to find a way of reconciling minorities and majorities, to eliminate the sectarian divisions that had in such catastrophic and genocidal form been a characteristic of the 20th century. He wanted a way to unify nations around universal law, and he believed in that even before World War II, but afterwards he thought it was an element of survival of humankind altogether. Threatened by nuclear weapons, he saw it as impossible that nations could continue to battle each other in war after war after war, throwing around hydrogen bombs and eliminating world cities one by one. He wanted to unify the natural world and the metaphysical world. He had a sense of cosmic religion, that cosmic religion designating an order of things that was, for Einstein, the precondition of being a scientist at all. Why would you spend your life trying to find a glimpse of an order if you didn't have some kind of faith that that order existed throughout nature? So all of these were forms of unification. Einstein constantly looking and taking some comfort, looking for a unity and taking a comfort from that outside order, that it wasn't just about us. It wasn't about my interests, my religion, my consciousness, even my lifetime that shaped the world. It was something bigger. And for Einstein, in the heat of World War II and the cold and dangerous war that followed, Einstein hoped that that outside, unified, understandable world would teach us something about a place in it that could be a more peaceable and hopeful existence. My final thought is this. When he was a child, Einstein recalled in his autobiographical notes that even as a 4 or 5-year-old, he was fascinated by certain objects. A relative gave him a magnetic compass, and he found it astonishing. He called it a wonder that something could turn that needle without any perception of what was doing it. It seemed almost magic, an action over distance, something beyond touch. He recalled that something deeply hidden had to be behind things. That sense of a hidden order that could be discovered stayed with him. He constantly was after that somehow our representation of the world, the phenomena that we could see, could capture something out there. He once talked about nature as being like seeing the tail of a lion and knowing that it must be attached to the full dimensionality and size of the lion behind it. That there must be a world of order that we can capture piecewise and then follow out to something that's not yet revealed to us. Then he reflected on another wonder that also came in his childhood at about age 12. He was given a book of Euclidean geometry. And the certainty of those arguments, the deductive power, the way that reason seemed to speak to the world of experience, that by understanding triangles and the Pythagorean theorem, by understanding the relationship of things that were purely in the mind, it seemed to reveal something about the physical world in which we lived. When he wrote this towards the end of his life, he said that may well have been an error to think that you could go from a mind-based reality to the world itself. But nonetheless, he was fascinated throughout his life by what he called the certainty and purity in pure thinking, something that was a dream that the Greeks had had, that there was a way of capturing the world through the mind, of mapping our ideas and representations onto the reality of things around us. Those two wonders, the compass and what it promised of a hidden world that we could get to, of Euclidean geometry that said that our ideas might actually reveal something about that world, those two things together, the compass and the geometry, form in some way a kind of guide path for Einstein that he followed for the rest of his life. He ended up understanding electricity and magnetism in a deeper way than anybody had previously. That's what special relativity showed. He understood how hidden things could be revealed by pushing on the geometry. General relativity takes that first insight of the 12-year-old Einstein and pushes it into the centerpiece of physics, so that geometry and our physical world are actually intimately connected. Those wonders that stood at Einstein's beginning also mark the trajectory of his life in a certain way. And by thinking about them and exploring what this has meant over the course of a life that's taken us in this course from technology, nuclear weapons, the relationship of art and science, that's taken us through philosophical wonderings about the nature of the quantum world, of the consequences for the technological world of these scientific theories. It's been a long trip, but it's a pleasure to have had a chance to work with you on these things. Thank you very much for participating in the course.